Acting. Sure, it may look easy. I mean, how hard can it be to imagine a person and then pretend to be that person? Dungeons and Dragons players do it all the time. Apparently, though, acting is a super serious business when you're a professional thespian and you're putting it all out there up on the silver screen. It seems like you hear every day about how difficult or strange it is to work with one performer or another, but how weird can it really be? Let's take a look at 20 times actors went above and beyond the Call of Duty. Every magic trick has 3 parts: the pledge, the turn, and the part where Michael Caine tried to not blink for 8 straight years. According to the veteran British actor, he once read an acting book that got it stuck in his head that he should never blink. Taking this behavior off screen caused no small concern, so he cut it out, but he still works to maintain an intense, unblinking stare during takes. Dwayne Johnson's turn as Hercules in the 2014 film of the same name is pretty underseen, so he really didn't have to go as hard as he did. For a scene where the character was required to break free of some chains, Johnson tried to channel his inner demigod by demanding that his bonds be actual metal. Unfortunately, he strained and screamed so hard that he blacked out 8 takes in a row. I guess even The Rock has his limits. Hollywood always seems to be trying to build a better dirtbag, and recently Robert Pattinson became the guy to try it out. In preparation to play a scummy, low-level Queens criminal in Good Time, the actor claims to have changed up his schedule to become nocturnal and lived in his basement for 2 months, coming and going at such strange hours that his neighbors became concerned. So, here's an odd one. You know Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron? And, well, there's this movie called The Paperboy, and I'm not here to yuck anyone's yums, but there's a scene where Kidman's character pees on Efron's character to deal with a jellyfish sting. And according to her, she really did it at director Lee Daniels' request, because she was in character and thought it made sense. RIP my YouTube recommendations. Do you like octopus? How about eating it raw? Heck, how about eating it alive? In a movie full of brash, over-the-top moments, the scene in Oldboy, where star Choi Min-sik chows down on a live octopus, is certainly one of the most memorable. Of course, nothing is ever simple in filmmaking, so he had to eat 4 of the dang things to get the shot. There is no shortage of actors who have learned another language for a role, either because they're starring in a foreign language feature or need to play a character who speaks a different language than you. It's a lot of homework. There is, however, only one Meryl Streep. For her role in Sophie's Choice, she learned both Polish and German for different scenes, and so she could be sure to speak German in a Polish accent. Sometimes having one actor who gets super into character isn't enough, and the whole production gets in on the action. For the 1975 film adaptation of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it was decided that they would film on location in the Oregon State Hospital, oftentimes incorporating the staff and patients into the cast and crew. The core cast were also assigned patients to shadow and study for their parts, and some of them even chose to live and sleep in the wards during filming. Now that's a team effort. There are a lot of things that you can do to prep for a role, and then there are things that you should definitely think twice about. For example, for the role of serial killer Paul Spector in The Fall, Jamie Dornan picked a woman on a London train and surreptitiously followed her around for a while. Dornan described doing this as kind of exciting, and I really cannot stress enough how much you should never do this ever. On that topic, Kate Winslet. A virtual unknown before starring in the box office shattering Titanic, Winslet pursued the role as relentlessly as a Terminator, getting James Cameron's private phone number to call him multiple times and sending him parcels of roses with the note, "From your Rose." Her persistence paid off in the end, but Cameron is pretty intense in his own ways too, and the actress has claimed that she'll never work with him again. Winslet isn't the only star to go above and beyond for her big break. Halle Berry made her film debut in Spike Lee's 1991 film Jungle Fever, appearing as the crack-addicted Vivian. To get herself in character for the role, Berry claims to have not bathed for 8 weeks and has acknowledged that her scent on set was pretty gnarly. Robert DeNiro has earned himself a massive reputation in Hollywood over the course of his career, and the actor often dives deep for his roles as he learns trades or gains or loses weight. An early notable example of this, of course, is the story that he worked as a New York cabbie for a month to get ready for Taxi Driver. Presumably, he didn't get a lot of practice in on the rest of the stuff in that movie. We hope. Sometimes it seems like Shia LaBeouf and Jared Leto are in a career-long game of chicken to see who can alienate the biggest number of co-stars and go the furthest for a role. Case in point, the necessary death of Charlie Countryman. To help refine his performance as the drug-addicted title character, LaBeouf dropped acid and recorded the resulting trip, studying his own actions and suggesting that his co-stars do the same to ensure maximum realism. Have you ever gotten your chest waxed? Well, let me save you some time and agony and let you know that Steve Carell's reaction in The 40-Year-Old Virgin is dead on. on. In fact, it's so real that they didn't even fake it. The actor really let himself get plucked on camera, and that reaction is real. Talk about a shot that you can only get one take on. No matter how you feel about him, Joaquin Phoenix always turns in a performance that he has given everything to. With that in mind, it's no wonder that his character in The Master is the very portrait in high-strung tension. Phoenix was so dedicated to keeping his jaw visibly clenched at all times that he had a dentist install brackets and rubber bands that effectively wired his jaw shut. Daniel Day-Lewis never stops, and it shows. Picking his roles rarely and carefully, the actor is known for a singular on-set intensity and staying in character at almost all times. While he rarely talks about his process to the press, his performance in Lincoln certainly fascinated the world. Steven Spielberg and Day-Lewis's co-stars all described his process as unknowable, but they all acknowledged just how easy it was to forget the actor and simply see the 16th president. No list of strange actor behavior would be complete without a visit from the patron saint of I can't tell if this guy is good or not himself, Nicolas Cage. Despite the fact that his character transformation in Ghost Rider was completely digital, Cage insisted on spending time in the makeup chair every day and having a skull painted on his face to get closer to the character. He must be a blast at state fairs. What is it with actors going out of their way to learn how to be a cabbie? Do you think they just sign up to drive for Lyft for a month or two now? Anyway, to prep for Collateral, star Jamie Foxx spent time in the driver's seat, taking fares, as well as learning high-speed stunt driving on a racetrack alongside director Michael Mann. Of course, Daniel Day-Lewis is the guy who would wind up on this list twice. We could probably do a whole video on his exploits. Anyway, this most method of method actors went all out on The Last of the Mohicans, training in tomahawk fighting, canoe building, and the use of a period rifle, as well as learning how to hunt, trap, and skin game to sustain himself during prep and shooting. The production of Castaway was a unique one. That time jump that goes from Tom Hanks yanking his tooth to years later, that represented a pause in shooting that lasted 6 months so that director Robert Zemeckis could go off and make a whole different movie, What Lies Beneath, and so his star could grow his hair out and lose the 50 pounds needed to create his character's emaciated look. Let's close things out on one final Oscar-winning performance. Forrest Whitaker took home a little gold man for Best Actor in 2006 for The Last King of Scotland. In order to prepare to play Ugandan director Idi Amin, the actor gained 30 pounds, learned Swahili, took up the accordion, and spent months in Uganda ahead of shooting. Neat. And there you have it. Boy, I could go on all day about actors and the weird nonsense they get up to in the name of their craft. 20 is probably more than enough for one day though, so we'll see you later here on Screen Rant.